Hi, I'm Sarah Johnson with the Cole team, and today I'm sitting down with Nick Tabor with Tabor Residential, and we're going to talk about a really popular topic among homeowners, which is finishing your basement. But first, Nick, tell us a little bit about Tabor Residential and what you guys do.
We are a full-scale remodeling company. We do anything from your kitchen, your bathroom, your basement, to custom projects and additions, and we also do custom homes.
Tell me a little bit about how you got into this business.
A lot of it came from working on my own home in my previous career, which we come from South Florida as a family, and after several years in law enforcement and having an investment property here in Dawsonville, we decided that the shift work and the hours and all of that was worth hanging up and coming up here to open a business, and we've had a lot of fun since then.
And I have personal experience working with Nick and his company. They've done a big remodeling project for my house, and then they also custom built my parents' house.
That's correct. It's actually the floor plan in the background here, and it was our first ground up house, and it came out awesome.
So Nick, you're the perfect person to sit down with just to kind of answer some of these questions that people might have about finishing their basement. So Nick says that now is considered basement season. A lot of people are thinking ahead for the summertime, planning their projects for finishing their basement. Tell us about how does the process start when someone contacts you and says, I'm starting to think about finishing my basement. Where do you go from there?
We schedule a home estimate, and we come out and take a look at what you're starting with, and always ask what your end use is going to be, because that varies on every project. If it's a spot for your children to hang out and get out of the weather, or a spot for a mother-in-law that is coming to live with you and needs full-on amenities and some independence still. So we take all of those factors into consideration, and again, take your environmental factors into consideration and work from there.
Okay. So I imagine the most popular question that you get asked is going to be about cost. And I'm sure there's a huge range depending on, someone's budget, and the sky's kind of the limit. But what would you tell people is kind of a base cost for finishing a basement, just a starting point?
Our starting point that we will even tell you over the phone is $35 a square foot. We would come in and assess how much of your basement you want to finish, what parts are obvious that can be finished, and then some others that you may have your heart set on that are just not conducive. If it's gas line or plumbing issues, things like that just make the cost exorbitant, we just move on from them.
In real estate, I see a lot of basements that might be not finished by a professional. So why would somebody want to call a professional like you to do their basement? Tell us about the pros and cons of that.
We have been in all kinds of basements, and many are homeowners started or handyman started, and they're the same basements everyone's concerned about as well. If I finish my basement, is it going to add value to my home? And certainly some of the ones we've seen do not add value to a home. And
they might detract the value from the home.
Absolutely, more often.
Yeah.
And so what we can do is we come in with licensed professionals. Being a licensed contractor, we use only licensed and insured subs, and what that entails is the folks doing the work, the state of Georgia has tested and approved for their license, and we also have inspections with your local municipality that would hold the permit, and we just go through and get all those details taken care of that may be overlooked by a homeowner or a handyman.
What would you say is the number one mistake people make when they're finishing their basement? So how can you help them avoid that mistake?
Some of the largest mistakes are when you really, really want something and budget doesn't allow for it. And we sit down and we can either work it in. If it's a kitchenette in the future, we will run plumbing behind the wall and stub it out just for that purpose. But number one is if you really want something, it may be best to delay the project a little while until that can happen, because once we're in and we finish everything, it gets much more expensive to do in the future.
Yeah, that's true. So what are some of the really popular trends, and what are really cool things that people are doing with their basements right now?
Basements are your spot to dedicate to your home, and whatever you want this to be, it's where we come in, and I would say where we really shine. We can take many folks have a fireplace upstairs, leaves this awkward space downstairs that's structurally supporting your fireplace. We've taken those and done complete shiplap fireplaces with an electronic fireplace insert and reuse that space that would typically be lost otherwise. One of the other large items is making a dedicated in-law suite, and it allows privacy for a family member whom needs it, who wants their own space and can have it closed off from the rest of the house and have their independence and yet still be nearby.
Yeah, and that's something I'm seeing more and more in real estate as well, is buyers are looking for that space, whether it's for their older children or for their aging parents. There always just seems to be that need for somebody in their family to have that space. And so you're adding a lot of that for people.
Absolutely, and as far as that return on investment that we're always asked about as well, having that suite is a big one.
Absolutely.
For most of our customers.
What about how long should a homeowner expect the whole process should take from start to finish?
Start to finish on your average 1,000 square foot basement, where we are adding framing or a structural beam to open space up, including plumbing for a bathroom that may already be stubbed, running a new sub panel for your electric. All of these items that come in before sheetrock, you can expect on a extremely quick, extremely fast project, 8 to 10 weeks. More often than not, 10 to 12 is our average. And then specialty items like kitchens and things like that can always add to the timeline.
So if somebody is ready to make that next step and give you a call, where can they find you?
You can find us on Facebook at our Tabor Residential Facebook page. You can find us at taborresidential.com, or you can give our office a call.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me today. I know this is going to be really helpful for a lot of people who are starting to think about basements. If you are thinking about finishing your basement, you definitely want to give Nick and Tabor Residential a call, and they're going to do a great job for you.